The challenge is really, obviously, the empowerment will help, but Maurice touched on the issue around market. If you look at our sector, the market is controlled by the big majors, and they have sizable, large chunks of that market, which they are not able to. They won't allow any other person to come through. I mean, if you're just a small player, they'll make sure that they decimate you before you grow up to be anything else by obviously undercutting you and doing all sorts of things. And that makes a big challenge to grow. And this is a symptom of the rest of the industry in South Africa, that we've got a mentality, we sort of love big businesses. They're good, big business is good for the country, but that sort of mentality then creates this thing of that big business controlling all the markets, not allowing innovation, not allowing new players to come in. I mean, if I was a huge taxi industry player, controlling all the taxis and everything else, I would have made sure that Uber coming here doesn't see its lights of day. And this is, how, and somehow processes needs to come through from obviously a competition perspective to say, how do we open up all industry, oil and gas and every other industry, for it to be good for small businesses? And this by just looking at things across the value chain. We've seen Bidvest has grown to be a big thing, and now it's trying to get smaller and smaller by unbundling and doing all sorts of other things. And that might help, for instance, opening up the market, but it's just one portion. But also, we don't have a culture of entrepreneurship. I think the entrepreneurship is a long, lonely journey, out there. And unfortunately, in South Africa, either year 2 or year 3, people just give up because, you knock on many doors. Yes, you make a little bit of money here and there, but after I've made my first big break, I never want to go back and keep on knocking. And you find that business, it was only myself and my wife and maybe one other person, and it's finished when I decide I want to get out of the industry. I don't think enough has been done. I think, if you look at from a funding perspective, if you go to IDC will tell you they will be more happier looking at a 200 million rand deal than a 2 million rand deal, because the agreements, drafting, negotiating is a similar sort of process. So now, if we're going to say, look, how do we unlock capital for funding of small business? We need to think differently to what we're doing. It can't be that a 2 billion rand deal goes to the same committee as a 2 million rand deal. It just won't make sense. That's one. If you look at competition only reacts, from a cartel, from this and that. Again, it's big business, but you don't find Minister Patel saying, we have all these other things and I want the market study done, for the health sector. This market study, I wanted to see how are we going to enable small players to participate in the health sector. It's more, let's study to see if the health sector is not screwing up, the customer. And yes, government is protect the men on the street, but again, forgetting the other long-term issues. So I will say things have been done, but not channeled to the right, the right places. I think from my side, when I came on board and read through what the guys have gone through at Afric Oil, it made me realize that this is a company which has got a potential to sort of become something. And the unfortunate part was that the people have been chasing and trying to do things, and not really having that 5-6 year vision and plan, and trying to. So first we made sure that from a governance perspective, our structures are correct. We've got a board, we've got processes, and anyone else can come in and look at our books and you'll be happy. That's the first thing. And then we also made sure that we're not just going to get customers to make a quick buck. Whatever we made, we're going to reinvest back into the business. Limit on dividends, on the CEO salaries. It's been set, managed by a committee, and it has to make sure that it meets all other things. CEO can't just take money and do other things. So I think that was, and then we also made sure that from an integrity basis, because customers pay money into our account and then we buy product and deliver. So we made sure we are customer focused. If a customer calls and say, guys, I've ordered 40,000 liters and I don't know if you guys are going to deliver or not deliver, it's me who would then pick up the call and say, look, this is what's happening, and definitely we're going to track your order and you'll deliver. When it gets to the customer, we call him to make sure that things have been done as is according, and customers start having trust and developing belief in our structures as well.